Thank you all for taking the time to watch my video. Everything I create is purely speculative and based on my personal views. This is one of those moments in Fairmont Crest when silence feels even more frightening than a scream. Because in a place where the iron gates close every night, where the lawns are cut to perfection, and where gleaming white walls constantly try to preserve an artificial sense of purity, people understand that peace has never truly been real. Peace here is only a brief pause before another secret is torn open, before another family collapses beneath the weight of the lies they once believed they could control. And this time, the center of that emotional earthquake lies inside Bill and Hayley's house, where a fragile marriage is hanging by nothing more than restraint, buried suspicion, and a trust that is rotting from within. Bill has done something even he never expected himself to do. He has temporarily set aside his suspicions about Hayley and Randy. On the surface, it looks like a mature decision, an effort to preserve the last scraps of order in a life already marked by fractures. But deep down, Bill is not truly at peace. He is only choosing to delay the explosion, like a man who clearly smells gas in the house yet keeps convincing himself that, as long as he does not touch the light switch, everything will remain intact. He watches Hayley with a calm so cold it is unsettling, not because his doubts have disappeared, but because he is beginning to understand that the most dangerous liars never reveal themselves when attacked head-on. They reveal themselves only when they believe they are safe. Bill's silence, then, is not forgiveness. It is a trap, a calculated wait. A deliberate step back to see just how far Hayley will go once she believes she is no longer being watched. But just as Bill tries to hold on to that fragile appearance of normalcy, the real danger begins to move. A mysterious member of the Dupree family is preparing to come to that house, and that visit is no coincidence. In Fairmont Crest, no one walks up to another person's front door without a purpose. No visit is ever truly harmless, especially when Bill's name is becoming increasingly surrounded by suspicious glances, half-finished remarks, and relationships that may appear mended on the surface but are still quietly burning underneath. This Dupree is not coming simply to ask questions or maintain politeness. That person is arriving like a fuse, carrying enough force to shake loose the masks Bill and Hayley have been trying so hard to keep in place. It could be a warning, an interrogation, or even a preemptive strike meant to force someone inside that house to lose control first. At the same time, Naomi and Chelsea are standing at another painful crossroads. They have tried to open their hearts to Hayley not because they completely trust her, but because of their love for Bill. In both of their minds, no matter how much damage has already been done, Bill is still their father. Still the man they cannot fully cut out of their hearts simply because of the terrible choices he has made. That is why Naomi and Chelsea forced themselves to move past the discomfort, past old wounds, even past the instinct telling them that something about Hayley has never been genuine. They tried to choose kindness over suspicion, tried to believe that sometimes a woman can simply be weak, lost, and deserving of sympathy. What they do not realize is that compassion is always the most fertile ground for deception to take root. And just as they are trying to lower those emotional defenses, Chelsea is carrying inside her a vision she cannot shake, Hayley sitting with Randy. That image was not some loud, explosive shock, not the kind of secret that erupts in plain sight and immediately causes everything to collapse. It is far more dangerous than that. It is a small but persistent detail, like a thorn lodged beneath the skin, not large enough to kill instantly but enough to make every movement afterward ache. Chelsea does not know exactly what she saw in full. She did not hear the whole conversation. She has no undeniable proof. But her instincts are screaming that it was not a random encounter. The look in their eyes, the distance between them, the strange tension in Hayley's posture, all of it carried the color of a secret that needed to stay hidden. And what torments Chelsea most is not just the image itself, but the question that follows it. If she speaks up, is she saving her family? Or is she personally pushing everything into a chaos from which there will be no return? Chelsea begins to fall into a brutal inner struggle. One part of her wants to stay silent, to preserve the last chance Bill has at some kind of peace, even if it is only an illusion. Because Chelsea understands better than most how exhausted her father truly is. He has survived too many battles, too many losses, too many moments of becoming the center of judgment. If what happened between Hayley and Randy is truly just a vague fragment, exposing it too soon could become a cruel blade cutting through the little piece of life Bill is still trying to protect. But another part of Chelsea is driven by anger. She hates the feeling of being deceived. She hates that she had only just tried to open her heart to Hayley, only to immediately uncover something that feels this suspicious. Inside Chelsea, a feeling begins to form that is both disappointment and humiliation, as though her kindness has been turned into a joke. Naomi is different. She does not see this through the impulsiveness of a fresh shock, but through the cold and deeper intuition of someone who has become too familiar with subtle shifts in human behavior. Naomi does not need to see Hayley with Randy to feel that something is wrong. She senses the imbalance in the way Hayley behaves, the almost calculated fragility in the way Hayley places herself in the role of the victim. And the way she always seems to know exactly when to lower her head, when to stay silent, when to appear wounded just enough to soften the eyes judging her. Naomi is smart enough to understand that the most pitiful person is not always the most innocent. And if Chelsea really tells her what she saw, Naomi will not treat it like some side detail. She will see it as the missing piece of a picture she has smelled dishonesty in for quite some time. The moment Chelsea decides to confess everything to Naomi is the moment things begin slipping faster out of control. No longer are there only scattered instincts or vague impressions that cannot be named. Now the story begins to take a clearer shape. The two sisters start reviewing every small detail in their interactions with Hayley, every time she avoided something, every moment she appeared exhausted at exactly the right time. Every way she made others feel guilty for continuing to doubt her. Every old memory immediately changes color. Every expression once dismissed suddenly becomes a clue. Both Chelsea and Naomi begin to realize something terrifying, perhaps from beginning to end. Hayley was never truly as powerless as she wanted everyone to believe. And once suspicion has found something to hold on to, returning to Bill and Hayley's house becomes almost unavoidable. But that return is not a simple family visit. It is an emotional raid. A confrontation where any smile could be the final layer of paint over a wall about to crack open. Naomi enters with the chilling composure of someone who has prepared herself to hear the worst. Chelsea enters with anger compressed so tightly that one wrong touch could make it explode. And Hayley, if she truly is hiding something, will undoubtedly feel that atmosphere the moment the door opens. People who are lying are always unusually sensitive to the threat of exposure. They hear the heartbeat of danger before the first question is even asked. Hayley has never been this close to the edge. What terrifies her is not only the possibility that Chelsea may have seen her with Randy, but the possibility that Naomi has already started connecting the dots. Chelsea may become angry, lose control, allow emotion to lead. But Naomi is the truly dangerous one because Naomi does not pursue truth in chaos. She strips away each layer of defense with reason, with patience, with questions that sound gentle on the surface, but are in fact a tightening cord around the neck of the truth. Hayley understands that just one wrong word, one mistimed hesitation, one reaction that is either too strong or too weak, could destroy her completely. It is the kind of pressure that makes a person stop thinking about right and wrong and focus only on survival. And in that trap, Hayley's true nature begins to reveal itself. She is no longer the fragile wife simply waiting to be trusted. Beneath that surface is a woman who has long been used to turning situations in her favor with words, tears, and ambiguity. If cornered, confession is not her first instinct. Her first instinct is to keep lying, only in a smarter, softer form, mixing in just enough truth to confuse the people listening. Because Hayley understands that the full truth is the most dangerous thing for her. Whatever secret exists between her and Randy, whether it is a bargain, a single contact made for private schemes, or something far darker, it is enough to destroy the place she has worked so hard to secure in Bill's life. And losing Bill is not only losing a man. For Hayley, it could mean losing the last shield protecting her, losing her grip on power, losing her place in Fairmont Crest, losing even the ability to keep writing the future according to the plan she created. Bill, sooner or later, will be dragged back into the vortex he once tried to put aside. That is the greatest tragedy of all. He chose silence because he wanted to observe, but silence held for too long becomes a kind of surrender. When Naomi and Chelsea return carrying their suspicions, when that mysterious Dupree arrives like an external fuse, when Hayley begins wavering between victim and manipulator, Bill will be forced to look directly at the truth he once tried to postpone. The anger inside him will no longer be impulsive anger. It will be fury mixed with humiliation, hurt, and self-contempt. Because the most painful thing for Bill is not simply being betrayed. The deepest pain is realizing that he may have willingly handed someone undeserving the chance to blind him. He chose to believe. He wanted to believe. And sometimes a man's greatest mistake is not being deceived, but seeing the warning signs early and still convincing himself that love can somehow repair a person's nature. That is why the arrival of the mysterious Dupree will not merely make the house explode. It will push each person inside toward the weakest point in their own soul. If that person comes to warn Bill, it will be a belated slap of awakening. If that person comes to question Hayley, it will be a blow forcing her panic into the open. If that person comes to expose the truth, then it will be the moment when every alliance, every attempt at reconciliation, every layer of politeness collapses in a single night. Naomi will have to choose between protecting her father and accepting that she misjudged someone completely. Chelsea will have to live with the fact that she herself may be the one who brought the final spark to the pile of explosives. Bill will have to decide whether there is anything left worth saving in this marriage. And Hayley will have to face the cruelest possibility of all. No one believes her anymore. No one is willing to shield her, and no door in Fairmont Crest will remain open to her. What makes this storyline so fierce is not simply the question of whether Hayley has a secret, but how each person will react when that secret is pushed to the edge of the light. A secret hidden in darkness can frighten people. But a secret on the verge of exposure is what truly makes people cruel. Bill may be the one to cast Hayley out of his life not because he no longer loves her, but because whatever self-respect remains inside him refuses to let him play the fool one more time. Naomi may become colder than anyone because, for her, betraying family is a line that cannot be negotiated. Chelsea may shatter in anger because kindness that has been exploited always leaves behind the sharpest pain. And Hayley, if every door closes around her, may not leave the city quietly. A person who has fought to survive through deception rarely disappears before making one final move. That is why what lies ahead is not a gentle reconciliation, nor a soft confession that magically saves everything. What is coming is a real war where family, love, loyalty, power, and the fear of being exposed will collide so violently that no one will be able to preserve their original sense of decency. Bill thought he had chosen peace by setting aside his suspicions. But in Fairmont Crest, peace is sometimes only the most beautiful name for a disaster gathering momentum. And when the door of his house opens to that mysterious Dupree, that may also be the moment his marriage to Hayley begins stepping into a final judgment that cannot be undone. Where a single truth spoken aloud is enough to destroy a family, a future, and the place someone used far too much manipulation to obtain. In a place where everyone knows how to hide, the most dangerous person is not the one who lies best, but the one who still believes they can control the consequences. And perhaps, in this moment, Hayley is still making exactly that mistake.